What's up, everybody? Welcome to the final video from my top 50 favorite games countdown. It is time for the absolute best, the cream of the crop, the greatest gaming experience I've had through the years. My top 10 favorite games of all time. It's been a fun ride, it's been entertaining and quite informative. It summed up pretty much the type of gamer I am, and which games, styles and genres they speak to me on a closer level. And tonight, everybody, I get to share with you the very best there is to offer in these gaming streets. And without any further lollygagging, let's get this party started. Coming in at the 10th spot, we have a band of misfits that will win anyone's heart over. At number 10, Yakuza Like a Dragon offers what is the best in turn-based JRPG with an irreverent story and a major underdog protagonist, surrounded by the most fun, powerful, and unexpected heroes. Like a Dragon took a major chance by switching up the combat style, previously well established in the series, and it paid off. The turn-based gameplay is as fun and as ludicrous as the story being told in this game. A story that is heartwarming, poignant, and completely batshit crazy. Stuff we could only see in games, but that works when you're running around as Ichiban, trying to help society become a little bit better, while caring for your friends, family, and loved ones. Yeah. Let's not forget trying to figure out what is happening to you, all in a great web of schemes and 4D chess being played with people's lives, loyalty, and love. Yakuza Like a Dragon is a great time for JRPG lovers such as me, and I thoroughly enjoyed this adventure that won't soon be forgotten. You see, the best part about a top 10 is that I truly only have fantastic games to talk about in here, and what is taking up the 9th spot are the most gorgeous and sound-pleasing platformer and Metroidvania games I've had the pleasure of playing. At number 9, Ori and the Blind Forest, together with Ori and the Will of the Wisps, are borderline perfection in their genres and what the experience they're trying to offer. I couldn't pick one over the other, and they work wonderfully together as a single entry, but that anyone should be so lucky as to play both games. Ori and the Blind Forest is platforming Metroidvania bliss, in gorgeous environments, challenging and exciting precision platforming sequences, all wrapped up in a heartfelt, unspoken, visually told story that speaks directly to the heart. Followed up by Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which kept all the gorgeousness of the biomes and world, together with yet again a story that pulled at your heartstrings, but this time adding artful, challenging, and satisfying boss fights to the long laundry list of game design elements these games exceed so much on. And number 8, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Again, another double take that could not have gone differently. Some people may say Tears of the Kingdom is superior, but in reality, there wouldn't be the latter without the former. And Breath of the Wild won't allow Tears of the Kingdom to shine as bright as it deserves to, simply because Breath of the Wild in itself is a star of its own. Both games have amazing gameplay and open world to explore. They serve to complement each other and not to replace it. It is impossible to care more for one title than the other, no matter which order one may play. If both games are played, whichever is played secondly won't feel the same as the one originally played. And it doesn't matter the order or which is played first. To me, Breath of the Wild opened out the possibilities in open world exploration that I had never cared to try and take part in before. Never had I played a game so carelessly or uninterested in what needed or should have been done next. I would set my own objectives, see something and get a link over there while appreciating the journey and stopping to smell the flowers. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom sure aren't a sprint or even a race. They are a road trip in wanderlust and mastery of game design. What could possibly follow up the best physics and chemistry engines in some of the best open world games ever made? Yeah, easy, I know. Some of the most addictive gameplay design and deliberate combat style in video games. Not to mention the absolute best DLC expansion I have ever played. Taking up the 7th spot, Bloodborne took the world by storm, and even though I was late to understand what it had to offer, once I did, it borderline changed my life. At the very least, it changed majorly the types of games I play and how much enjoyment I get out of video games. The Soulsborne genre wouldn't be the same without Bloodborne. That fast-paced, deliberate combat with high-octane boss fights in a horrific yet masterful gothic Victorian world has become the blueprint for many games that came and many games more they are yet to be. I like everything about Bloodborne, including the Chalice dungeons, which I did many rounds in pursuit of the Platinum Trophy. From exhilarating boss fights with Father Gascoigne, to some of the coolest trick weapons seen in games, all the way to secret wonderful areas to fight and explore, to the literal best DLC I've played in video games. What's not to like? Bloodborne is a masterpiece. I had the pleasure to platinum on the PlayStation 4, a game I've finished more times than any other game I have ever played, and a game I had the good fortune to play solo and co-op with many strangers and friends, introducing you to newcomers, sharing their taste at the dopamine factory these games can be. Now, can we get a remaster already? You all know these were coming. What would I be without my number 6? The Persona series. Yeah, I know. But frankly, these truly are interchangeable. Would you really have preferred I took 3 separate spots for these games in here? We all know Persona 4 Golden is the GOAT, followed up by Persona 5 and then Persona 3. But in reality, any of the 3 could and would be here if the other entries didn't exist. With that said, let me gush a bit about some of the best and most satisfying JRPGs I have ever played. It is seldom a game lives up to its hype and reputation. If you follow JRPG channels on YouTube, it is rare to find someone who won't profess their love of Atlas and especially Persona. I mean, okay, I know the mainline SMT fans exist and they are contrarians, but let's be real, it's okay for them to be butthurt. If a secondary spin-off series made your mainline game irrelevant, perhaps you too would be bitter and looking for reasons to insult the prom king and queen. I kid, shots fired. But back to what's important here. The Persona series, besides having what could possibly be the best original soundtracks in all video games, also offers some of the most interesting turn-based combat and boss fights we have in the genre. With the best cast of characters to fall in love with, well, in 4 Golden in this case, with social links that, even if not completely relatable, social links that can be easily understood and empathized with. I am a gameplay first type of guy, and that will never change, but thanks to Persona, I also learned to cherish and appreciate well-established characters with a story to tell and friendship to share. Alright, moving on, enough sentimentality for a video. I think you got the idea here. Well, at least that's what I wanted to say, but then I saw my number 5 is, so I guess here we are again. At number 5, the Xenoblade Chronicles series. 3 and 2 only in this case. Sorry, Xenoblade 1, neither vanilla nor the remake makes the top 10. This spot is reserved exclusively for Xenoblade 2 and 3 in interchangeable order again. So now I take amazing, gorgeous, colorful open world to explore, then I add glorious music to it, sprinkle in engaging, thoughtful stories to compelling, poignant characters, followed up with a challenging and fun combat system, and we have the best and highest rated JRPGs in my list of favorites. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3 are probably not for everyone, but it sure is for me. There are many systems to learn and synergize, the characters are voluptuously alluring, cutscenes are gorgeous and exciting, the gameplay rewards mastery and understanding. All ingredients in this amazing melting pot that is oh so satisfying to play through. Xenoblade! You're my boy! Now let's talk gameplay mechanics, build variety, and challenge. Who cares about story? We can watch lore nerds for that. At number 4, Elden Ring is all about gameplay. And we have established by now, gameplay is king, and Elden Ring is king of gameplay. There are so many build variety and possibilities, so many Ashes of War and special abilities, some of the best biomes, castles, and secret trees to explore. Most likely the greatest amount of enemy types and variety I've ever encountered in a game, together with the greatest number of boss fights I've ever seen in a game. Some of these fights being the most challenging and rewarding I've ever had the pleasure to partake in. Yeah, you know the drill, Malenia, Blade of Mikola, who's never known defeat. That is, until let me solo her enter the arena. Horaloo and his tiger sacrifice, that was as bombastic as it was fun to fight. And let's not forget, I know we all got spoiled by the sheer number of these fights, but when we all saw that first dragon turning the corner and fought it on horseback, like a noble knight in a Saturday morning cartoon, we all felt like King Arthur in what is possibly the best dragon fight in any video game ever. Man, Elden Ring is too good. It literally has the coolest weapons and best spell animations in video games. I mean, look at that hammer, everyone. Anyway, Elden Ring takes the best in open world exploration, puzzles, and secret areas, adds in a ton, and I mean a ton of challenge and bombastic boss fights, together with high fantasy elements and lore, all to create some of the best experiences one can have in a video game. You want Game of the Year? Well deserved. It has zero microtransactions or pay-to-win schemes, and soon enough, you will present us with actual, anticipated, and most likely awesome, worthwhile DLC. I'm happy there's more to come, and I can't wait to be back to the lands in between, wreaking havoc to gods and titans. Okay now, top 3. Are you ready for this? And number 3, The Last of Us 1 and 2. I just recently played through both games and it hasn't changed. They are still absolute masterpieces. Now, these are yet again games made with me in mind. At least that's what I like to tell myself. But hear me out. The most amazing graphics possible in the current gen, awesome atmosphere and art direction, some of the best voice acting we have seen in video games, period. Storytelling that is so compelling, we have people that literally hate the second game because of in-game situations involving the main characters. That's like when people cuss out in real life actors that play the antagonists and villains in movies and TV shows. But I digress. Despite controversies, I am very much a fan of The Last of Us combat and gameplay, from crafting to stealth and horseback riding to gunfights and cutscenes. I love everything The Last of Us does as a game, and I particularly love how the stories are told. It's simple yet deep and captivating enough to extract real-life emotions out of the players. I'll level with you guys. I care very much about the characters in this game, and I think the atmosphere and story are fascinating. But I very much sign off on the combat as well. Level design, enemy placement, how the AI reacts to our movements and choices. I truly think The Last of Us 1 and 2 are masterpieces of video game achievement, and I can't wait to see what will happen in The Last of Us Part 3, if and when we ever get that game. For my number 2 spot, obviously, I needed something that was also extremely special. Something that stands above and beyond everything that we have seen in this countdown so far, but something that is specially made for me. And that is why my runner-up is Dark Souls 3. A linear game that is rewarding in every aspect and direct to the point. There is no fluff in Dark Souls 3. There is no filler content. Every single area, every level, biome is precise and efficient. There is no bad or obnoxious parts to this game. Everything is made to order and wonderfully balanced. From the graphics and art style to the fast, deliberate combat, easy to use and understand systems, still challenging and rewarding. I don't know what I was expecting out of Dark Souls 3, but what I got was perfection. I literally enjoyed every single boss fight in this game, all of them. Yes, even that one you're thinking of. All of them, and I mean it. I love the weapons we had to play with. Even though I didn't experiment with build diversity this time around, I went straight to my beefy boy setup and got the coolest, biggest, fastest weapon I could wield and use it throughout the game in my strength build setup. That allowed me to keep all my Estus flasks for healing, and I never tried a single spell or divination. No magic in my playthrough. I like being able to make that decision and for it to be perfectly viable in the game. Some may say Dark Souls 3 is the greatest hit album of the Souls games, but in reality, what it truly ends up being is the culmination of experience and expertise in over a decade of maturing and perfecting the Souls formula. Handcrafted by now well-recognized, humble genius designer Hidetaka Miyazaki and brought to us in video game format as Dark Souls 3. Okay now, so finally, here we are at the number 1 spot, and number 1, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, my favorite video game of all time, and as a surprise to no one, because it truly hasn't changed. From the very first time I beat this game, it has always been my number 1. Nothing has come even close to dethroning it either. I've loved and enjoyed several other games, I've had a great time with so many genres, styles and everything, but nothing has reached the highs or the fun and satisfaction I've achieved while playing Sekiro. Literally, the best boss fights in all video games. And not just one or two, several boss fights in Sekiro are better than any other across all games. Simply the best combat in all games. The most satisfying animations and sound design to go with it. I also love the setting and art direction they chose to go with it as well. Fighting All-Father or Genichiro atop the castle with the amazing scenery in the background, to truly learning how to deflect and be aggressive early on against Lady Butterfly, to finally perfecting all combos, parries, deflections, and throwing lightning back at the Sword Saint. Sekiro is perfection. Let's not forget what has to be the coolest boss fight and gotcha moment in video game history against the Guardian Ape. There are just so many great mechanics in designing Sekiro that it's just so hard for me not to gush all over it. It needs to be felt to be understood. There isn't much more I need or want to say about Sekiro. The game speaks for itself. It's beautiful, it's masterful, it's blissful, it's a masterpiece. It is the best video game of all time. And that, my friends, that is the end. This was a fun journey. I hope one day to add another 50 great games to the list, but first they need to earn their spot. I hope you guys enjoyed the countdown and let me know, what is your favorite game of all time? Have you tried any of the games in the video? Are you more interested in anything you might have seen here right now? Please share with us. Thanks for checking out the video, and I'll see you guys next time.